For your viewing pleasure, this broadcast of the Municipal Council meeting of Alpena is made possible by the funding provided by the City of Alpena. Thank you for your generosity.
Good evening. Welcome to Alpena City Council meeting of November 16th, 2015. Call to order, please.
Johnson? Here. Nielsen?
Here.
Nowak?
Here.
Sexton?
Here.
Walagora?
Here. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, everyone had the opportunity to read the minutes from regular session November 2nd, 2015, special session of November 5th, 2015. Modifications to the agenda this evening. Citizens appearing before council on agenda or non-agenda items are allowed 5 minutes each to address your concerns. This is the only time during council meeting that you're allowed to address council. If you do so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for our records.
Right now?
Sure.
Pat Szymanski,
Robert Szymanski.
and we live at 433 Dawson Street, and we have a couple issues with the neighbors that live at 110 Bolton Street. It's Council Kitty Corner from ours, and I outlined what the issues are. First, the problem started in the spring of 2014 when the neighbors decided to set up a mini farm in their backyard. They've got a city lot. And we had problems with roosters, ducks, geese, turkeys, cats, and a large dog. Right, at one time there was 3 cats, right now there's 2, I believe.
The problems are noisy. Rooster was going off all during the day and night, 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning. The first rooster died frozen in the snow, and then she got a second rooster, and that one we had a nightmare with. We went through all the channels that's finally been removed, but she placed a recording of the rooster, you know, just to irritate the neighbors. The problem with the animals are they're roaming around freely in the yard. There's a very offensive smell. There's animal manure all over in the yard. The chickens and the roosters are been out in the street, up and down the sidewalk on numerous times.
They get loose at times from time
Yeah.
to time. Let me elaborate on this first cat here, that we were lucky enough to get it trapped. We got it to a vet, and it was infested with fleas. The skin was hanging on it, and all its teeth had to be pulled because it was infected. Now, they have 2 more cats, and these animals are not going to make it to the winter unless we do something.
Yeah, the cat was going to the neighbors. It was on the porch. It was whining. It was very, very thin. The bones were sticking out. We knew it was sick. The neighbor girl and her boyfriend captured the cat, took it to the vet, and it cost $800. The vet kept it for 2 weeks, and it cost her $800. She had the cat taken care of and paid for it.
Now, the kids are playing in the backyard there with all these animal feces there. And this has got to be a health question, I would think.
There's the kids age in range from 2 to 11. There's 4 of them, and they're back there, and most of the time they're in their 8. And the front and backyard's a mess, but the backyard is mainly where the animals are. Yeah, I've observed her putting eggs on the ground. Now we have a problem with skunks.
My neighbor,
And Kathy's here right now. She can attest to this. Her husband borrowed our our animal trap, and he captured, what was it,
Six skunks in 2 weeks.
Within 2 weeks, because they're coming around because of these animals.
Stealing
these
the eggs.
Yeah.
And eggs of-
And when she feeds these animals, we got seagulls and pigeons constant.
all over the place.
It's pretty nasty.
And then they're flying over, and of course, there's bird droppings coming down all over the place. And it's just, it's a problem that started, and it's just escalating. And now they built some pens, and they've hauled these pens out. Just in the last couple of weeks, they're hauling these pens out, but they're not finished.
This is after I went to the Humane Society to see about the care for these animals, because they're not taking care of them. That's our first problem. Our second problem deals with planes in remote vehicles that they're running up and down on Bolton Street all the time. Now, I called the police numerous times. They say they can't do nothing unless they see an obstruction, you know, but somebody's gonna either get hurt or killed unless this is acted on.
Yeah, we're talking about airplanes that are approximately 4 to 5 feet wide. There's about 2 dozen of them. He's got them hanging all over in his garage and on his walls. And he's got these big remote trucks, and he takes his 4 children, and he's got neighborhood people that come over, friends, and they've got a group of people, and they literally take over the whole block and the intersection. They have run into the tire on my car twice with these remote vehicles. And they've been warned. I've seen the police over there. The police have come and talked to us about it. And then
They refuse to?
they refuse to
Comply
comply.
with this.
They still take them out. When they take it over, they go from the beginning of the block in the 100 block all the way down to the end of the block. They do the whole street.
And sometimes they blow that yield sign on Bolton, you know, and that little car goes through there, and then another car's coming on Dawson, you're gonna have an accident.
Well, either that, or you're gonna have one of the kids get hurt too.
That's right.
All right.
That's our problems.
Well, we appreciate you coming in for sure, and Greg has your information. I see he's taking more notes than I even did. So we'll follow up on that for
Okay.
sure. We'll get the right departments out. and follow up
Thank you
on
for
it.
your time.
We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Anyone else this evening?
Can I just say something from here, or do I have to stand?
You have to come up.
Okay, I'll go with you.
I'm not a speaker.
That's all right, neither am I.
Neither are any of us.
My name is Kathy Gorski, and I live next door to those people. And all my bedrooms are on this side of the house. And the mess is pathetic back there. I had company stay at the house in the summertime, and from the heat and the smell, it blew in my windows. You know, if I wanted to be on a farm, I'd be on a farm. I'm in the city. For 42 years I lived there, and now I gotta have to contend with all this bull crap. I think it's unnecessary. I do.
Okay. I
And
appreciate
they have
that.
this big fat turkey, and he's filthy, and I don't know if he has mites or whatever, and then he has his ducks and chickens. So, I don't know what you can do about it.
We'll definitely have a look-see. Appreciate
And a
it.
little 2-year-old boy, I feel bad for him, because in the summertime, I mean, these animals have rain on the whole 120. Bird crap everywhere. And these little kids are running out there barefooted in all this species. I don't think that's right.
And that's the 120 block of
Yeah.
Bolton? That's what
Yeah.
we do, okay.
I just don't feel it's right. And I'm sure you guys think this is funny or weird or whatever. I don't.
No, not by any means.
Not by any means,
It's
no.
110.
110.
110 Bolton.
Do you
Got it.
have any? No, I mean the one, that 110 Bolt.
Oh. Down there, yeah.
Yeah, Mike does too, they both have them, probably the current charge.
There's a current charge in your charge.
There is one,
That's in court.
Is it?
there's one in court.
Okay.
Mhm.
Bills to be allowed in the amount of $1,064,356.31.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Nowak?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, and we've presentations, announcements, proclamations, public hearings, down to 11, which is report of officers. We have a memorandum of understanding for the Duck Park and the Alpena Power Company. taking the lead on that, Bill?
I'm taking the lead today. I won't recite the memorandum, everybody's seen it. This really involves the property that's commonly referred to as Duck Park, and then the old Alpena Power Company building. And it's a memorandum of understanding amongst the city, Alpena Power Company, the Fletcher family interests that own part of the property at Duck Park, and then Target. And essentially, the other three parties have signed, and so it's up for the city's consideration at this point. The transfer of properties are basically contingent upon everybody performing the memorandum of understanding. So, as of right now, we are the only party that hasn't signed. And so we're asking for council's approval tonight of the memorandum of understanding. As to the process of obtaining the necessary deeds, I did not have a chance to speak with Jim Florup today, who's arranging for the deeds on behalf of the Fletcher family members. He has given me notification that Alpena Power Company will sign their deed that they have to do, and that some of the Fletcher family members have already signed, but some of them are not in the state, so they're trying to gain signatures from the other heirs. And assuming that all gets done, this will be a simultaneous transaction where all the deeds will be transferred at the same time. I think Greg's going to show you the outline of the couple of parcels that are going to change between the city and Target.
Yeah, what you see here is an aerial view of what in essence is the property owned by Alpena Power, which goes from 2nd Avenue to the alley. Actually, I think the alley has some name to it. Yeah, Frank's Alley, actually. The outline in red is the current property of Alpena Power. And what you see is the blue dashed line would be the additional property that they would acquire. At least it would be Target, not Alpena Power Company, but Target. Alpena would acquire. And there are 3 parcels involved, A, B, and C. A and C were selling to Target, and B, that little, in that, well, not quite a triangle, a little more than that, is going to be acquired because that's for part of the bike path, and we wanted to make sure we had sufficient room. I think it's a minimum of at least 10 feet to still allow bicycles to get through there. The net on that, when we took the total square footage, and then Jeff Shea came up with a per square foot price, it was roughly 14.8 or thereabouts, and we rounded that to 15,000. So we would like council tonight to approve this transaction with the city being paid 15,000 for the properties. And as I said, it's, as I described it earlier, it's a 3-legged stool. If any one of the legs falls over, the whole thing does. Everybody, like Bill said, has to comply and come through with their part of the deal, so to speak, and then it will move through. And once we know those deeds are all signed, then the parties will schedule a meeting where everything will take place all at once.
And there is no reason to believe at this point that there isn't going to be compliance.
No, we're assuming it will be.
Yeah.
It's just been a rather long time in coming.
And all of that is outlined in the memorandum, so all we need to do is, with the purchase of the property, so all we need to do is this one, and by vote, we would just simply...
Yes, approve this, and then that basically covers everything, and I think it does have that the land purchase was for 15, I think that's in here.
Number 2.
Two A's in there.
Yes. So if you approve this, then we're all set to go.
Okay.
At that point, Mayor will contact you because you'll have to come and sign on behalf of the city.
No problem. This has been a while, so I think all the pieces come together.
Move we approve the memo of understanding between the City of Alpena, Target Alpena, Alpena Power Company and Fletcher Family Interests.
Second.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Thank you. Communications and petitions. This is Forward Northeast Michigan. Joe and Jim are here. I didn't want to destroy your name, Joe. I'm sorry. I just don't hear it every day, so.
Okay, I don't know how many of you remember me from the intergovernmental over at Osneek, so I kind of spoke to you about this initiative of ours, Forward Northeast Michigan, and I guess for the sake of everyone else here, if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to take a moment just to introduce myself again. I'm Joe Lukasiewicz. I'm chair of Forward Northeast Michigan, and we're a group of concerned citizens and elected officials who are committed to the establishment of a baccalaureate granting state university here in Northeast Michigan. Educational and economic opportunities for citizens here in Northeast Michigan are limited, as we well know. With no public four-year university in the northern half of the Lower Peninsula, students must leave the area to access higher education. We know from experience that once our children leave, they seldom come back to live and work. And in effect, there's a brain drain that we're experiencing here that adversely affects our communities and our local economy. While access to college is difficult for low-income residents throughout the state, it's particularly difficult here in Northeast Michigan, specifically the Alpena region, where only 26% of the 18 to 24-year-olds are enrolled in college. And this is substantially less than 39%, which happens to be the statewide average. So clearly this region is like 13% below the state average for enrollment of 18 to 24-year-olds in college. So a baccalaureate granting university here in northern Michigan, specifically Northeast Michigan, will result in economic benefits of a better educated workforce and also bring direct investment in jobs from construction students and added visitors. And I think I'm going to stop there, and I don't know if Jim wants to
say a few things, and then if there's any questions you have of us, now's the time to ask. And why we are here specifically today is to ask the council, on behalf of the city of Alpena, to pass a resolution of support for the establishment of a four-year baccalaureate granting state university here in the Alpena region. As you probably recall, I was just here a couple of months ago about another resolution, and I promise you I have no intention of going back every couple of months. But I really care about this one, this idea of a university here in Northeast Michigan. If you live in Alpena, you're living farther than anybody else in the state of Michigan from a four-year school, a lot farther than most communities. And so even if you live in like Ann Arbor, your kids probably want to go to Michigan State just to get out of home, right? The problem is that usually it's a two-way street. If you're living in Big Rapids and your kids don't want to go to Paris, they're going to go to CMU, and the kids at CMU are going to want to go to Paris. The vectors go both ways. But in Alpena, it's a one-way street. Everybody's leaving to go to four-year schools. Nobody's coming here. And that needs to change if this community is going to grow and not lose its youth. We're worried about the demographics of our community as we watch the population get older with fewer and fewer kids staying. Our school enrollment is declining. High school enrollments are declining. Kids are just not the big commodity they used to be in Alpena. And in order to get in front of that, you have to think maybe the way things are going in small towns elsewhere, like Marquette or Houghton, Hancock, where they have small populations of people too, but they have the two-way street, people coming and people going. Lots of people are going to Houghton and Hancock to go to Michigan Tech. There's actually two universities. I didn't realize that until I looked it up. There's actually two universities in Houghton. And the population of that county is only 35,000 people. And to get to Houghton from Detroit, it's the same distance as going to Washington, D.C. from Detroit. And people are going to Houghton because it offers curriculum that people need. Engineering. Engineering's big and people are going there. So we can draw people to this community. We can draw youth to this community. And we can experience the kinds of spin-offs that those schools have had. Especially around an engineering school, you're going to have these electronics spin-offs. The spin-offs around Northern Michigan University have been amazing. That community has grown with people saying, hey, this is a great place to go to school, but when is it going to be better to live here? And people have taken a root there that went to school there and then developed their own small startups. We could have that same experience here if we had the 4-year school. So this is a concept that Joe and I and the committee have been looking at carefully for some time now. And all we're asking tonight is if you think we're on the right track, please pass the resolution saying, yeah, let's push this down the road. Thank you.
Can I ask, I don't know if anyone else has asked, but one of the points on your, as a matter of fact, I believe it's the last one, there's adequate land in the public trust in Alpena region which is suitable to support the development of this university. Can you expound on what that is?
To my knowledge, the county has about 1,000 acres of land. ACC has 970 acres, as I understand it, under control. There's 400 acres plus, I believe, near the airport. That's land in the public trust, and I don't even know what other land might be in the public trust under state ownership and some other ownership.
Okay.
So I'd like to think that given no more space than what a 4-year university would require, that certainly some unit of government here would step up if they are sincerely interested in seeing a baccalaureate granting university established here in the Alpena region. I'd like to think that they could pony up a few acres to establish a campus. Yes, sir.
Have you had any contact with ACC, and is this something that you foresee as converting an ACC or creating a new?
Well, that's a very good question. We began talking with ACC back in the days of Dr. Joynton, and actually right up to his very last day on the job, we were in his office meeting with him and then handing off this issue to Dr. McMaster. And since then, I met with John Briggs, a trustee. Jim was in on a number of meetings. Some of these meetings I had personally one-on-one with some of the administrators. We had other members of our group sit in on some of the discussion with them. Ideally, the transformation of ACC from a 2 to a 4-year school, that would have been the Cadillac way to go, in my way of thinking, to keep the initial cost down. They run into some issues with their charter. Also, they have decided to maintain their autonomy as a 2-year school. So anything we do with them, we could do in partnership with them, but it's not going to be an extension of their existing, say, method of operation. And granted, they are in the process, well, they just recently were accredited for a second baccalaureate program. That's been tossed out to us a couple of times. Well, we see other community colleges doing this. Only actually 3 other community colleges in Michigan are entitled to grant baccalaureate degrees in a specific, unique, a technically unique area. And ACC has permission for 2 of those programs, the concrete technology and then electrical transmission. Northwest Michigan College has a baccalaureate program in maritime and Delta in culinary arts. There's a Senate bill out there that I don't know what the status of that is. I'm going to meet with Senator Stanis on Wednesday. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about specifically this university and how we can take advantage of his presence as our state senator to make this happen in the region, should there be local support. But any additional baccalaureate program from a community college in Michigan has to be approved by the state legislature and then signed onto by the governor. And it's going to be, anything that is approved will be likely one that a 4-year, a current state university in Michigan doesn't want to touch. As an example, in this Senate bill, we're talking about ski management, uniquely small niche types of subject areas that probably would attract much more than a couple of dozen students per year.
Thank you.
Did I answer your question?
If I may, in our discussions with Dr. Joynton and McMaster, we've really reached a pretty solid consensus that whatever the 4-year initiative would do wouldn't be at the cost of ACC or its fundraising capabilities at all. And on the contrary, we would try to design this so that they dovetailed in such a way that there was minimum redundancy, thus the hope that we can actually co-locate on campus and share the same buildings, share the same instructors, that sort of thing. There are some conceptual models out there, and we're still exploring those, but we think maybe the Delta College, Saginaw Valley State University model is a good one to look at.
We're looking at all options, short of starting a new university from scratch. So it's somewhat premature, but we might approach U of M or MSU to see if they would want to partner in that. We have internal conflict within our own committee. Trust me on that one. Any other questions on that?
You don't particularly have any specific targets for, at this point, for what the degrees will be specifically, like you're pushing towards an engineering school?
No, that's actually
or
beyond where we're at
way
this
premature?
point, and that would also be somewhat dependent on if we were to have like U of M or MSU step up and take on this challenge for this region. I'm sure they're going to have plenty to say about the curriculum. Do you have any-
Well, we've talked about, how we have natural resources here that make us a natural as a community that would be based in natural resources. For example, Michigan Technological University was located near mining, and it started out as the School of Mining and Technology, and it still turns out people who do mining engineering. But it started because of what was there, and what is here is NOAA, Fish and Wildlife Service, DNR, some of the biggest natural and state forests, national and state forests in the country. So a natural resource-based curriculum might be a good idea, but we haven't gone that way yet. We haven't got that far. These are just conceptual ideas. Also geology, with all the limestone production here. It seems in ACC already doing 2-year programs in limestone technology. Why not take that a step further? These are opportunities out there waiting for us to look at.
I'd like to add to that too, if I may, with the commercial and military side of the airport here. We've got in hand right now a resolution of support from Iosco County. They have the retired Wordsmith Air Force Base down there. They've been expanding aviation types of job programs down there through industrial recruitment. And I envision, and I'm speaking now personally, I envision a partnership with the state university that we're proposing with the commercial military airport here with Oscoda. Jim Bayer, the township supervisor for Oscoda Township, he's on our committee also. And trust me, he'd love to have that university down there. And he made an offer of land at the old Wordsmith base with the infrastructure already in place. But I said no, and I think we're pretty much all in agreement. We have representation on our committee from all the way down in southern Iosco County and other counties around, even Montmorency County. We have a new member on our group there. So again, the possibilities are endless, but I would hope that anyone who has that responsibility to start looking at the type of programming that could be offered here would certainly look at the resources that are available, specifically, as Jim stated, the Great Lakes, the expanded sanctuary, tie that in with the program at ACC with their underwater robotics, at Presque Isle, up at the Hammond Bay Biological Station up there under U.S. Geological Survey control, doing the lamprey research, and they do a lot of other research beyond lamprey research. So the possibilities up here are endless. And we might, be under a little pressure, say, why Alpena? Why not Grayling? Why not Gaylord? Why not Traverse City? Well, there's been a little bit of pressure on me, but we need to, if Alpena is interested in a 4-year university, Alpena Township is interested, then we need to step up. You need to step up now and secure it by way of resolution.
Yeah, I think we got, has anybody got any other questions? for
Parting
Joe or
shots? I don't have my target on my back today.
No, I guess, I don't know if you want me to start. I certainly appreciate what you guys have been doing. When you came to IG and you presented it to all of us, one thing that I guess I failed to do in that time since then I really didn't reach out to my counterparts or anyone from any of the other surrounding part of the community to get their ideas, to get their feelings about the project or what they might think. At this point, me personally, that's what I would like to do. And now, and I apologize that I probably should have, because I kind of knew you were coming. It's been a little hectic for me, but what I would like to do is just table the resolution and put it, and ask to have it put on our next agenda, just to give me an opportunity to talk with Cam and Marie and Jim and everybody else that might be involved in this kind of thing. Because from my perspective, I don't want to approve it and then have Cam and them calling me tomorrow for some particular reason because we didn't discuss it, or I just want to be on board with everyone. That's me.
If I may just say one thing. From Alabaster Township in southern Haskell County, all the way up to Rogers City, Presqu'île Township also, all of them have passed resolutions of support saying we want a four-year university in Alpena.
Okay. No, that's good to know.
I'm in education, I'm comfortable with it. I think one thing you kind of mentioned briefly that is the biggest benefit to our community is this is probably one of the most effective ways to get younger. You know, we don't have a lot of young people, we lose a lot of young people. If you can make Alpena a little bit more of a college town, you know, that's certainly going to bring a whole different dynamic, and you know, it's hitting for a home run, but I'm happy to help you swing for it. You know?
Annually in economic stimulation from a 5,000 student university.
And it does start to change the image of your community a little bit too. You become a little bit hipper and a little bit cooler. And I think you guys have some good ideas about the types of programmings that would fit with our region. So I'd be happy to table it if that makes council comfortable. I'm certainly very supportive of the idea, and I'd love to have my kids have that opportunity here.
And I can't disagree with that at all. If successful, everything both of you said is sure, that's all true. I guess I'm just I want to make sure that that's our plan. Is that our plan? If that were to transpire, what does that change with everything that we're currently doing and the direction we're going? Because we're going in a direction right now that seems very suited and everything is going very well. If all of a sudden we go in another completely kind of different direction, which would be college town, university college town, what does that change? That changes a lot of things, and I guess I just want to make sure that everyone is on board as the planner, to the DDA, to everybody, to make sure that that not me, but we're not going in a direction that everyone, that we just didn't expect. Maybe everyone that I talked to would be like, yeah, that's awesome, and then I would feel a lot more comfortable. So hopefully a couple weeks won't be too much of an issue with what you got going on.
I'm certainly comfortable with the presentation as it is, and, ready to give a yes, but more importantly to me is that anyone on council who ever wants to get more information or gather more information has that opportunity, so I'm very comfortable with, tabling it until the next meeting as well.
It would be nice to, I would like to speak with the heads of some of the committees that I sit on and see how they feel about it. And I think they would all be very positive, but it would be nice to hear that. And for you to have that support as well, right out of the chute.
I'm supportive, but if we want to table it, we can, I'm fine with that too.
It is 3 weeks, so.
What do we
have
do?
long.
Oh, you're gonna give us
an extra week?
Yeah, we got an extra Monday. 3 weeks.
Yeah. I feel a lot better, so if that's all right. Okay.
We'll need a motion.
All right. We'll do that.
Thank you, I appreciate
We'll do
it.
that. We'll stay in touch.
Need a motion on that? I move we table resolution 2015-14 until the next council meeting in December.
To make Matt feel better.
What?
To make Matt feel better.
Well, I didn't want to, you guys
No,
could
that
have
makes
just said,
sense,
let's
yeah.
go.
Was there a second?
Second.
Sexton?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
I move we adjourn
To closed session.
to closed session.
I thought you said that.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Walagora?
Aye.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nielsen?
Yes.
Noah?
Yes.
Sexton?
Yes.
You are watching All About Alpena.